We rage baiting. We gonna make people mad. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at those eyes. You know what those eyes tell me? He knows what he's doing. Of course he does. We got a video called The Water Magician is Better Than Mushoku Tensei. Are we talking about the source material? Are we talking about the anime? Because if it's the anime, listen, it's not even a fucking comparison, right? It is not a comparison. Water Magician in the beginning had a lot of promise, but ever since that Great Title Boar episode where it got offshore to a different company, it was so fucking ass. The Dungeon Break episode. And then, after that, the quality has been suffering more and more. It's definitely not as bad as the Great Title War episode, but I think a lot of people can definitely tell the significant drop in quality rate lately. The Demon Prince fight was, whatever. But hey, is the Water Magician better? 5 reasons why.
5 reasons why the Water Magician is better than Mushoku Tensei. Who's even writing these articles? I genuinely can't.
Okay, he's not rage baiting. All right. He's pro Mushoku Tensei. I wanted him to like be pro Water Magician to like rile people up.
Articles. I genuinely can't think of a single thing that the Water Magician is even comparable in to Mushoku. And you guys know I'm not biased, since people think I'm the #1 Mushoku Tensei hater. The article's first point
is he? Doesn't he say Mushoku Tensei is elite? No, he's the #1 Tensura hater, right? He fucking hates reincarnated as a slime for whatever reason. Not even the anime. We're talking about the source material.
Cool's first point is more focused on the intricacies of magic. I agree, in the first episode, it was interesting seeing Ryo figure out all of these creative ways to use his water magic. But since then, he's kind of just...
Yeah, for sure in the first episode, like, there is no, like, he doesn't use spells. Like, you read out a fucking line and, hey, this is this spell. No, he uses, like, his understanding of physics and, like, physical chemistry to just utilize his water magic in very creative ways, right? There was, like, the scene where he even, like, dropped boiling water onto Leonore, which was a really cool scene, but I know that, wow, you changed the water into hot water. Crazy. But I'm just saying, like, it does try to be, you know, unique in that way, but... it's just, hey, spam ice javelin 271, ice wall, drop icicles, more ice.
Creative ways to use his water magic. But since then, he's kind of just been doing these same moves and stomping everyone. While on the other hand, Mushoku has one of the most well thought out and balanced power systems. The second point is distinct yet easy to...
Mushoku Tensei's well thought out balanced systems. You know what I really like about Mushoku Tensei? Magic versus melee swordsmanship. I thought that was one of the coolest concepts. It's a very simple concept, right? But it's like magicians are OP as fuck. But if they're fighting swordsmen, if they are within distance, swordsmen always win, right? Because they're too fucking fast to react. But if there is a way to do incantationless and you can keep your distance, right? Then magicians are better. And on top of that, there's like a lot of different types of magic. So far, we only know about water, at least from Ryo's perspective, at least in Mushoku Tensei, and there's been a lot more. And it's kind of unfair to compare the two types of systems right now from anime perspective because, you know, Mushoku Tensei has 3 seasons out. Well, 2 quarters of, you know, 2nd season. And they get to flesh that shit out more. But I like how different elements have different ways of doing magic and the swordsmanship too, rankings, right? There's like 3 separate types of swordsmanships too, right? There's like, I forgot the different styles, but there's 3 different ones, right? One is like, one of them is like super, just like the one that Eris goes, right? Where it's like dragon god shit. Is it sword god shit? Where it's like, your goal is to end this shit in 1 strike, right? Yeah, North Water Sword, right? The North one, the sword god I think is the coolest one. Where it's just like, just straight up, just head first. You're gonna just strike that shit down. Just Giga Chat speed, strength, power. And then there's Water God, which is more what? Defensive parry? I think it's defensive parrying style. And then North God is tricks, isn't it? There's one where it's like... oh, okay. North is a dirty side. Yeah. It's just like pocket sand, you know, shit like that. We saw that like Rudy versus... during when we got like kidnapped away to like the Beastman tribe and shit like that. Anyways, I like how that's all really thought out and it gets really explored and there's like different tiers of ranks too within that too.
Systems. The second point is distinct yet easy to follow world building. Neither of the series world building is hard to follow, but Mushoku's is just infinitely better.
Yeah.
The third point is
World building. I don't know. We just came from a fucking. We just came from like the penis of the island, you know? Like basically there's this continent, there's like a mountain ridge, and Rio was like basically on the other side of the mountain ridge, and we've crossed it now. We haven't really gotten much of world building at all in this show just yet. But obviously, again, not even a season of anime has been done.
But Mushoku's is just infinitely better. The third point is a tale of the MC's solitary growth. Apparently for some reason they say being alone makes the story better. And this point
Solitary growth was 2 episodes of content. Now, who wrote this article for real? Listen, they're not even using like the source material from the light novel or the manga. They're just comparing the fucking anime shit. Like, this dude fucking... Dude, yeah, I'd say solo leveling is better than this for solitary growth. Genuinely. Bro, yeah, Rio spent 20 years, but that shit gets off-screen, and there's hardly ever any, like, deep thought-out... What's it called? Introspection, or like the consequences of being alone for that time, other than Rio being a zesty ass fucking weirdo when he's talking to Abel. I don't think the solitary growth is even a significant factor in the anime so far.
Solitary growth. Apparently for some reason they say being alone makes the story better. And this
Let's read this part. Unlike Mushoku Tensei, where Rudeus' journey is constantly accompanied by many allies whom he forms in this new world. Okay, Rio is literally forming many allies he's forming in the new world right now. He has Abel. He has the elf girl. He has all the people in the guild in the fucking city now. What are you talking about? What? You're talking like this is Sung Jin-woo. Rio from the Water Magician had to do it all alone. Rudeus even had the support of his new parents. Yeah, okay, the first 20... Okay, here's the thing. There's a different narrative structure in how Rudeus had the support of his new parents, because this is not trying to highlight solitary growth. This is basically giving this fucking loser ass NEET a second chance with a stable family structure to highlight what a difference it is when he's growing up in a loving and cherishing household that wants to support him, and for Rudy to want to do better. I'm not saying his old parents didn't want the best for him, but it's like a reset. So it's like a complete separate goal in which where they're trying to like explore. For fucking Rio, he doesn't care. He has no issues. Like, he just wanted to just live a slow life and enjoy this new like fantasy world, and he goes out on adventures and he has a lot of fun. Not a single time do they ever talk about like, oh, it's so lonely to be at the top. Yeah, Kumiko I think is a perfect one for solitary growth, right? So I'm a spider, so what? That anime is perfect in the main character's perspective of solitary growth, as it's all about like personal introspection, what it means to like survive and to like not give up. There's a lot of points where she's like joking around and acting as if everything is fine, but then there's moments when she snaps too, and it's so fucking real in the way that she comes out like that. Rio again is just chilling and he's having a lot of fun, and the solitary growth is literally like such an insignificant factor in the narrative perspective of what it means for the character to develop like that. And for Rudy again, bro's a baby when he spawns. You want a baby to not be with some parents?
Better. And this point doesn't even...
Okay, go back. Rudeus even had the support of his new parents. Water Magician had it rough. He did not have it rough. Bro, the Spirit fucking Fairy King was, you know, his fan too. He was like treating him nice and stuff. The Fairy King was basically like his little uncle. Anyways, I think it's such a ridiculous thing to point this out, clearly because Rio does not struggle at all in like a psychological perspective. Unless, maybe later on, right? Maybe later on in the future, like maybe Rio's gonna have some flashbacks of his hard times, and we are basically seeing this character act as a Joker right now. And little do we know of like the psychological damage that's been done to the character, and it's gonna be a plot twist later on too. But I highly doubt that. I don't think that's even the point of Water Magician. Before One Piece, Mushoku Tensei pulled a move that made Kuma's sacrifice look like nothing. I fucking hate these articles, bro. These articles are fucking clickbait YouTube slop, just like my content.
Story better. And this point doesn't even make sense since Abel was introduced at the start of the...
Abel is crazy.
Being alone makes the story better. And this point doesn't even make sense since Abel was introduced at the start of the second episode. The last 2 points are that...
Because like again, 20 years jump happened between like the first and second episode, and they're trying to like exaggerate like, oh my god, bro, that 20 years was crazy. Bro, it doesn't even matter.
It's more fast-paced, but at the same time more relaxed, which kind of just contradicts each other. I don't think there's any valid arguments for the...
Fast-paced and relaxed means that nothing is fucking happening, which might be the worst of the worst. Straight up. Relaxed vibe plus fast paced. What does that mean? It means that we are rushing through slice of life interactions and none of it matters. That is literally the worst fucking combo. And you know what? Recently, I might agree with that. Nah, the recent episodes, the structure of it is kind of weird. I don't know where we're going with this. I don't think the anime is bad by any means, but it's like, what are we doing? I mean, Ryo is just exploring the world for what it is. And there was some cool stuff, you know, some cool mysteries being set up with the Akuma, the devils, the eclipse, right? The sacred jewel that Leonora stole as well, and Ryo's just kind of hanging out and meeting the elf. I just want the world to expand. I want him to go outside and actually do more rather than being confined to the city right now.
Contradicts each other. I don't think there's any valid arguments for the water magician being better than Mushoku Tensei. Besides that, Rudeus is problematic.
There it is. That's what they should have said.
5.
Honestly, Ryo pisses me off more than Rudy. Which is a crazy thing to say. Listen. I don't even know if I believe in what I'm saying, but like, basically people hate Rudy because pedophile. I hate Ryo because it's not even the fact that he's zesty. There's a lot of zesty characters that I enjoy. This is not homophobia. This is, yeah, snarky. Like, the way that he talks to other people is so fucking condescending. You combine that with how zesty he is too, it just makes it fucking worse. Like, his attitude towards Abel and everyone else, he basically little boys everyone. No, not little boy. Whoa. Shorten the strip. Little bro. I heard Lloyd in the chat for 7print and I said little boy. No, little bro. He is little broing everybody in such a condescending, patronizing way, and it pisses me off more than the fact that Rudy is a pedophile in his like old life. Which is crazy, right? It's fucking crazy, right? Anyways, let's read some of the comments. Maybe the real rage bait were the article headlines we saw along the way. The next article, 10 ways Harm in the Labyrinth has better worldbuilding than ReZero. Who write these articles, bro? ChatGPT maybe? The person who wrote that article just did it because they hate Rudeus. If they did, then they would have talked shit more about Rudeus the characters rather than everything else about the show, which Mushoku Tensei excels at. Abel's a good main character. He's not a main character, he's a side supporting character. But it gets boring having an MC flex his power all the time. So you mean Ryo, right? Ryo's a good MC, but it gets boring after having MC flex his power all the time and get praised. I prefer when each side character is uniquely strong and pose a threat to the main cast, which Mushoku Tensei does perfectly. This part is true. It's called a One Punch Man formula or the Eminence and Shadow formula. If Saitama or, you know, Shadow pulls up and clutches for everybody and solves everyone's problems, where's the fun in that? That shit gets boring real quick. But if you can highlight other side supporting characters and see it from their lens, their perspective of how they struggle against the antagonist and keep that shit hype, and at the very end, the hero comes in and saves the day, that's, I think, the perfect way to keep reusing these OP characters rather than the OP character deliver everything. In Water Magician, they kind of are doing that, right? They are using Abel struggling against the Demon Prince and then Ryo pulled up and saved the day. It's just that the way that he did it, it was kind of like, I don't know. Again, this part has to do with more of the production value. I just think that the quality is lacking in terms of highlighting like these Sakuga moments. The only thing I liked about Water Magician was its opening and ending. I fucking hate the opening. I'm gonna play just the part, just this opening part. I hate that shit. I fucking hate that like high-pitched falsetto voice in the beginning. Later on, as the chorus goes on, it's better and better. Like, that opening combined with what I just said about the main character pisses me off in an irrational way. It doesn't mean the opening is bad. The visuals are absolutely fucking cracked. I think the visuals are one of the most beautiful things about, you know, in this season of anime for sure. But I don't give a fuck about the visual when we're talking about anime openings. I care more about like the actual song, and the intro part of it pisses me off, but then the more I listen to it later on as it gets into chorus, it gets better and better. Anyways, that's pretty much it. These fucking articles are garbage, and I'm all for Ellen Historian farming it. Please check out Ellen Historian's channel. Link to his channel. Careful for spoilers though. See you next time.